BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
China has issued a strong rebuttal to United States accusations that it is deliberately undermining the global economy, amidst a palpable escalation of the trade dispute between the world's two preeminent economic powers, a confrontation significantly amplified by increasingly sharp rhetoric from both Washington and Beijing. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce, speaking on Tuesday, characterized the United States' contemplation of new tariffs on Chinese exports as a threat to intimidate, asserting that such an approach is an inappropriate method for engaging with China. A spokesperson for the ministry declared that China is prepared to fight to the end in ongoing trade negotiations. These pronouncements emerge on the heels of statements by United States Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who alleged that China's objective is to pull everybody else down with them by intentionally damaging the international economic landscape. The intensified trade friction follows closely on the heels of reciprocal actions taken by both the U.S. and China, which have begun imposing increased port fees on cargo vessels, thereby heightening trade tensions. Earlier this year, the United States unveiled plans to levy duties on ships with ties to China, citing what it describes as unfair maritime trade practices. These tariffs, along with retaliatory charges initiated by China, officially took effect on Tuesday. However, state media has indicated that ships constructed in China will be exempt from these newly enacted measures. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce also stated on Monday that it had proactively informed the United States regarding the rare earth export controls announced by Beijing the previous week. This contradicts earlier remarks made by United States Trade Representative Jamieson Greer over the weekend, who had stated that the U.S. had not received prior notification. Last week, China tightened its restrictions on rare earths and related technologies, citing national security imperatives. China's near monopoly over the supply chain of these critical minerals, essential for global manufacturing, has long been a contentious point in trade discussions between Washington and Beijing. In response to this move concerning rare earths, former President Donald Trump announced intentions to impose a substantial 100% tariff on Chinese exports, scheduled to become effective from November 1. This announcement from Trump immediately triggered threats of retaliatory measures from China. Tariffs between the United States and China had been largely held in abeyance until November 10, as both nations engaged in efforts to secure a trade agreement. As of September 25, average U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports had reached a significant 58%, while Chinese tariffs on U.S. imports stood at 33%, according to an analysis conducted by the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Despite the ongoing trade war lull, Tuesday witnessed the implementation of new United States tariffs on imported timber, kitchen cabinets, and upholstered furniture. A considerable portion of these goods are sourced from China. Treasury Secretary Bessent conveyed to the Financial Times that if they want to slow down the global economy, they will be hurt the most. Notwithstanding this exchange of heated rhetoric, China reported that working-level talks were held between the U.S. and China on Monday. President Trump had been anticipated to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping later this month at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Seoul. The recent barrage of accusations and tariffs has cast a shadow of uncertainty over the prospects of this high-level rendezvous, though Secretary Bessent expressed his belief on Monday that the meeting would still proceed. China, however, has never officially confirmed any plans for a Trump-Xi meeting. The re-escalation of trade hostilities underscores the precarious state of the bilateral relationship, with significant economic implications hanging in the balance as both nations navigate increasingly complex geopolitical and trade landscapes. The language employed by officials, characterized by defiance and stern warnings, signals a hardening stance, potentially setting the stage for prolonged economic conflict. The impact of these escalating tariffs and counter-tariffs is being closely watched by global markets and industries dependent on the intricate supply chains connecting the United States and China. The fundamental disagreement over trade practices and economic strategy appears to be widening, with few signs of immediate resolution. This latest volley of diplomatic and economic maneuvers suggests that the path towards a stable trade relationship will be fraught with challenges and continued confrontation, as both sides assert their perceived economic interests with unwavering resolve. The narrative of a global economic slowdown being potentially manipulated by one of its key engines, China, has been forcefully rejected, with Beijing framing its actions as defensive and proportionate responses to perceived external pressures. The intricate web of trade dependencies means that any significant disruption in the US-China economic relationship reverberates across the world, impacting consumers, businesses, and governments alike. The focus now shifts to how each side will respond to the other's latest pronouncements and actions, in what is shaping up to be a critical period for global economic governance and stability. The intricate dance of trade negotiations, punctuated by sharp words and decisive policy shifts, continues to define the relationship between these two economic titans, with the rest of the world observing with bated breath. The assertion of fighting to the end from China is a clear indication that Beijing is prepared for an extended period of contention, signaling a departure from previous attempts at de-escalation. This defiant posture, coupled with the US's continued imposition of tariffs, paints a picture of an intensifying trade war with far-reaching consequences. The underlying issues, including trade imbalances, intellectual property concerns, and technological competition, remain at the core of this multifaceted dispute, contributing to the difficulty in finding common ground. The economic stakes are exceptionally high, as any miscalculation or further escalation could lead to significant global economic instability. The world economy, already grappling with various uncertainties, faces a renewed threat from this deepening trade rift, highlighting the interconnectedness of national economies in the 21st century. The current situation suggests a potential shift in global trade dynamics, with the possibility of further fragmentation and the formation of new economic blocs. The strategic importance of critical minerals like rare earths further complicates the situation, as their control offers significant leverage in international economic relations. The ongoing tit-for-tat tariffs and the rhetoric surrounding them underscore the deep-seated mistrust and strategic competition that characterize the current phase of US-China relations. The upcoming months will be crucial in determining the trajectory of this trade war and its broader impact on the global economic order. The statements made by both sides reveal a determination to protect national economic interests, even at the risk of exacerbating international tensions.